Hey, this is Rebekah at Studio 107. We're doing a little mini makeover series here, just talking about makeup and not so much trends, but more basics. And then, once fall comes and winter and holidays and special occasions, then we'll talk a little bit more in depth about those things. But today, we're really talking about the basics of foundation and how important it is just to get a nice, even coverage. It makes your overall look just that much more put together and just even. So we're going to start with foundation today, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple different kinds. We do have a liquid foundation. We're going to be a little off camera here. We have a liquid foundation, and everything is by Jane Iredale. It's a mineral makeup. It's so good for your skin. It actually benefits your skin in many different ways. But the liquid is a great coverage. It does give you some nice evenness, almost like a primer or a tinted primer. You always kind of want to follow it with a powder though. The powder is where your SPF comes in. So speaking of powder, we're going to highlight those, and we're going to be using the pressed and the loose today. So I'm going to use half loose on Kate's face and half pressed on the other side. And the purpose is just to kind of show you the difference between the finish. They're both SPF 22 and 24, I believe. I may be off on that. You can check on the website. That's totally fine with me. But they are in the lower 20s. It is a sunblock, so it is not going to wear off. I believe it withstands 8 hours submerged in water. So even if you go swimming, if you get splashed by the pool, it's going to stay put as long as you're not wiping it or rubbing it off. But it's very, water resistant, so you don't have to worry about reapplying throughout the day. So I love that, especially in the summer. You don't have, you don't want to cake on foundation. You just want it to look light and more natural. And then on top of it, you get that great sunscreen. So we're going to be using those two today. And again, my name's Rebekah. I've worked here for almost 9 years now at the studio, and specialized really in makeup. Do a lot of waxing. I do hair as well. Most of you know that or have seen me. But today, like I said, we're doing basics, and we're going to get started here. Thanks. All right, so here we have Kate Walker. Very beautiful. She's got good skin. She uses Shakeology, kind of helping out with things. But she's getting married in November. Yay! But we're going to do a little, like I said, half and half. We're going to do the pressed on one side and the loose on the other. And again, it's just to show you like the difference between the finishes. And that's more or less what it is. The pressed is good for more normal to oily skin. I use the pressed personally. It really helps to kind of absorb some of the excess oil, and it doesn't make me look overly shiny right off the bat, which is a little bit more. The loose tends to give you that translucent kind of glowy look. I glow naturally throughout the day, so I don't need that going on right off the bat. So again, we're going to do the pressed on her left side. Your left side. And we're going to use the brush at first. There's two different ways to apply the pressed. There is the kabuki brush or the little sponge. And the sponge is great if you want a little extra coverage. You can just kind of roll it onto the skin. The brush gives you a little bit lighter coverage. Either way, you can maintain really great coverage. You don't have to pack it on, like I said. So we're going to use the brush first, and if there's any, extra little imperfections we need to cover, I'm going to go in with the little sponge and do a little extra rolling. So with the brush, you want to kind of take it from the top and just gradually push it into the skin. You don't want to circle, because these are minerals. You're actually going to be polishing your skin and making it shiny if you circle and really buffer it into the skin. So you really just want to kind of slide it across and push it in. Kate, what do you usually use?
I usually use pressed.
Okay.
I feel like it's enough coverage. I don't like to be shiny either.
Mm-hmm. Do you get oily throughout the day?
I do.
Okay.
So I feel like this helps.
Okay. And we're using Golden Glow on Kate. She's got a nice little tan going on from all kinds of summer fun. A little too much fun, maybe. Close your eyes. I always get the lid as well. And that's because we all have discoloration on our eyelids. That's just part of being a woman. It's thinner skin. We tend to get veins or redness. You definitely want to go over it with your powder. And therefore, it also creates a nice base for your foundation or your eyeshadow, sorry. It just kind of evens everything out. So when you do put your eyeshadow on, it's not being discolored by any redness or, like I said, veins, purple, green undertones to it. So just really get a nice coverage all over. I'm going to go in underneath her eye with this sponge because I like a little bit more coverage under there. This way you can completely skip using a concealer. That's an awesome benefit of using the mineral makeup. It's such a great coverage that you don't have to use concealers and highlights and all that business. You can really just use the foundation itself, but just use it in different ways, in different applications, and you'll get really nice coverage. Then you look all the way up. And this is called stippling. You really just kind of pushing and patting it into the skin to get really nice evenness underneath. And like I said, we're just going to cover maybe a few little darker spots here and there. Maybe close. So that is the pressed side. Now, I'm going to scoot over here. With the loose powder, we're using a bigger, fluffier brush. It's called a blush brush or powder brush, basically. And what I do with that is you want to take your powder, get a little extra going on in the top there, push your brush into it, and then take it into your cap and kind of do a little swirly pushing action. And that's going to, you know, tap it off a little bit, but that's going to really push it into the inside bristles of that brush. And that's where you want it. You don't want it sitting right on the top where once you put it on the skin, it's fluffing all over the place. So you really want to kind of push it in, get it all inside there. And then here again, just sweep it down and across your skin. You don't want to do a lot of swirling or anything like that. Just lightly sweep it across. Loose, because it is actually more concentrated pigment, it will give you a little better coverage right off the bat, but there again, it's a little more dewy, glowy look. So for us oily girls, we tend to go with the pressed, and depending on how you apply it, you'll get just as good a coverage. This is really great for more mature skin because it gives you that kind of, you know, translucent, glowy look that, you know, as we all age, our skin tends to lack. It gets a little dull. So this kind of sparks you back up a little bit. And always put a little bit down underneath the chin and down onto the neck. You always want that nice and blended. And here again, I'm just going to use the sponge. Get a little bit of that powder, go up on her eyelid, and then underneath. And that's the loose side. The shades do vary slightly. Loose tends to be, because it is more pigmented, tends to be half a shade darker, they say. As you can see with Kate's face, you can get in a little closer. You really can't tell. I mean, it's still looking very even. I did half and half right down the middle. But you're going to get a little bit darker shade. So if you use one over the other, if you are a little unsure about the shade, just ask us. You know, we're happy to match you up and get you the right shade. But you always, always, always want to finish off with the hydration mist. The hydration mist is going to set your powder. There's 3 different kinds. There's Balance for oily to normal skin. There is, let's see, D2O, which is for normal to dry. And then the Palm Mist, which smells the best. It's got a really nice fruity kind of pomegranate smell to it, and the pomegranate actually plumps the skin, so it makes it, you know, the best for your more mature skin. We're going to use Balance on Kate today because, like she said, she's a little on the oily side, and we're just going to spritz her real lightly. I always do 5 kind of in a circular motion to give it a nice all over set. And you do not want to inhale this. It will make you cough. So I always do a little waving action along with it. But that is our basics on foundation. I'm Rebekah. This is Kate. Come see us at Studio 107. Thanks for watching.